s'mores. All right, let's go ahead and get started. This is the free astrotheology course, the gospel and the Zodiac, the secret truth about JC, the Christ figure. The author is Bill Darrell-El. I'm Dr. Yasapa from Zion Law School. Welcome. The link to the free PDF for our course textbook is in the description area of the video. So y'all download it. I strongly suggest that you print it. All right. So a lot of other good books in there. Well, 2 free that everybody should have. And there are links to my books, my Ancient Ibaryath books. You can buy those. Only buy them on zionlawschool.org. Don't buy them on Amazon and places like that because they take too much money. All right, y'all. Also, links to my classes, my streaming class, and the live class that I teach, 506 The Curses course, every Saturday at 10 a.m. Y'all can come. You can subscribe to the streaming class. That's 24 hours, 7 days a week. And the live is every Saturday. But anyway, the links are there. All right, the links are there. So let's get into it. So we are still dealing with who is the man with the jar of water. Who is the man with a jar of water? We're still there, 32. This is video number 32, just on this topic. Okay, and this is not even one of the chapters in the book. Okay, it's in the book, but it's not a chapter. All right, so let's get into it. We completed Sagittarius, so now we need to go on to Capricorn. We need to go to Capricorn. All right, so Capricorn, y'all should remember, scholars, Capricorn is half fish, so we're dealing again with the hybrid. So Sagittarius is a hybrid and Capricorn is a hybrid. Okay, so we're dealing with hybrids. Hybrids are unnatural, right? Hybrids are unnatural. So anyway, let's get into that. But one of the books I'm thinking about doing next, speaking about fish and hybrids. Well, this topic also has to do with some ancient Egypt, quote unquote, mythology, ancient Egyptian or ancient Kemet mythology. All right. But we'll get into that. I'm not going to say which book that I'm considering doing right now. I'll leave it for another video. But we will come across this information again. So Capricorn is a hybrid. All right, so page 22. Scholars, open up your books to page 22. Let's take a look at our table. According to the author, Bill Darrell-El, Capricorn, the Capricorn section of Mark begins at Mark chapter 11, verse 27, through chapter 12, verse 44. All right, through chapter 12, verse 44. Okay. Now, interestingly enough, Capricorn, again, verse 11. So whenever you see the two ones or two pillars, you should think what? Covenant of labor, spring equinox or vernal equinox, and covenant of grace, which is the autumn or fall equinox. Okay? So covenant of labor, obviously, that's when you must work, toil, the sweat of your brow, as it were. And then the covenant of grace is the harvest. Everything is given to you. Mother Earth gives birth, not birth, but Mother Earth gives you her bounty, the ripened fruit. And the climactic point, of course, is the grape harvest, all right? That's important. Why? Because as we went through in the chat, well, I won't go through it. We're going to cover it again. I'll save it. We're going to cover it again when I go into the chapter. Okay, so the incidents, according to the author, that makes the author conclude that these verses are Capricorn or Capricornian. There's an incident about teaching on authority. Teaching on authority. This is suggestive of what? A hierarchy or a corporation. Right? Teaching on authority. The next incident is encounters with authority figures. Encounters with authority figures. So that also is suggestive of a corporation, because if you are the sovereign, there is no authority figure. You are the authority, right? You are self-governing and you're always in honor. There is no authority over you. Y'all see that? Everybody see that? When you are in your proper when you're in your proper status, when you are harmonic with nature, you know who you are, the strong masculine mental gender energy, polarized harmonically or rhythmically rather, in honor, you are sovereign. Nobody's higher than you. You have equals, but you do not have anyone who is in an authoritative position over you. That's why when you fill out applications, make motions, etc., anything other than an affidavit, you are putting yourself in a subservient position, or as the position of a servant, a bondman. That's why we don't use the word family. And that's why they use the word family, as in family court, or children and family services, etc. All right? This all has to do with status. We as a people don't know it because we have not been taught etymology or law, especially natural law. Okay? Everybody understand that? You've been mentally transported into the world of the dead, where you are corporations, bondmen and bondwomen, and they've given you a language for that. What is that language? Hermetically, according to the Hermetic laws, the language is a cause. The language is a cause. The effect is for you to accept it and use it and participate in their paradigm. That's right, to get you to consent, to participate, to believe and accept their paradigm. Everybody got that? So hermetically, it would be a cause. Okay? It would be a cause. It would also be what? It would also be someone else exerting their masculine, let's call it masculine seed, egg, or just their masculine energy. Y'all get the point. Exerting their masculine energy on you, causing their masculine energy to collaborate with your feminine energy to produce the effects, which is your behavior, your consent and acceptance of this dead maritime admiralty canon Christian system that they have, where you are a bondman or a bondwoman. All right, if you're in North America, your 14th Amendment. Everybody got that clear? Okay, so that's the difference between a corporation that's dead and nature, right? If you're animated, if you're Genesis chapter 2, sprung from the soil, autochthonous, more according to the lawful definition of land, you are alive in full life, right? Right, y'all? You are the rightful heir. Okay, you are the rightful heir. Not just of the land, energy, and resources, but of contracts, commerce, and titles. And titles that moor you to the land. Titles that link you to the land in law. Right? Because you're linked to the land in law, that means you are obligated to speak the jurisdiction of nature. That's natural law. That's the Most High's commandments. The governing principles of the universe, which includes consciousness and intelligence, awareness, are the 7 Hermetic principles. All right? The 7 Hermetic principles that we always talk about. Okay, so now the zodiacal key words are, for Capricorn, responsibility, management. See, that's a corporate concept, right? Management, responsibilities, duties. Authority, that's your office. Y'all see it? That's your office. CEO, CFO, president, vice president, senator, representative, sheriff. Authority, the authority that comes in that office. The father, we talked about the father concept, right? The father concept comes from the story about the Hindi deity, rain. And when the moisture falls down, when the rain falls down, isn't that interesting, y'all? And saturates the ground, saturates Mother Earth. That rain is considered to be like a sperm. Mother Earth becomes pregnant in the spring, and you get the regeneration of the next generation. And then that cycle repeats itself, right? Life, death, decay. Life, death, and decay. That's the first, or not the first, but that's one concept where the idea of the Father comes from. Like, for example, JC prayed to the Father. That's the Father I'm talking about. The Father and the deity, the Father and the Trinity. Another place where the Father comes from is like we've been talking about, the I am. Your masculine mental energy. That is correct. Masculine mental energy, the silent observer, the witness. Okay? That does not exist inside of your physical fleshly body, but exists outside of you. It is part of consciousness itself. It is part of the universal mind, or it is the universal mind. And your fleshly body, your brain, our cells, we are just like a phone number. And all the information that, for example, if someone calls your phone number, you know, you get to talk to them. It doesn't go to somebody else's phone, but it goes to you. Well, it's the same concept. Sometimes I say we're a condensation of the Most High, or we are a condensation of the All, or we are a tuning station, a radio station, if you will. Every person has their own station, if you will. Okay? So that's the masculine mental energy, which is I am. It exists outside of the body, right? It is not receiving, it's giving, so it's masculine. Y'all got that? It's giving, inserting. So it's masculine. You can liken it to the conscious mind. And then our physical body receives that masculine energy, and the feminine mental energy collaborates with the masculine, and then the feminine energy, of course, creates or gives birth. Gives birth. Or in other words, we call it manifesting based upon the images, the visual images coming from the masculine. Everybody see that? So you will correlate this to the workshop of the mind, where you have a canvas to paint images of who, what, where, why, and how you want to do, be, or have. Okay? That's where you go to create your reality. The workshop of the mind, that mental movie, that movie screen that I always talk about. All right, y'all? Which is separate and distinct from meditation. Meditation allows or enables you to relax. And you can use it for whatever you want. But the movie screen, like it says, that is the workshop of the mind. Now, if you are the Christ, listen to this, y'all. Listen, if you are the Christ, that means you're in honor, you're in your workshop. That means you are a what? Who works in the workshop, y'all? The workshop of the mind, the craftsman, the craftsman. Some of y'all might be thinking Freemasonry or Masonry. And I'm not talking about the black priesthood, the Saturnalian, the Brotherhood of Saturn. These people who wear black robes, black t-shirt, black jeans, every day they got on black. That's not who I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the evil people who want to harm you. That's a abuse of this knowledge. Okay? They're using it in a negative way. They're worshiping Saturn. But that's another topic, right? They're worshiping the Punisher. Okay? So I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about Masonry anciently, before it was hijacked. But this is the source, and I'm not even talking about Masonry. I'm talking about the word craftsman. That's what I'm talking about, craftsman. So you'll hear that term amongst Freemasons, right? Craftsman, the master craftsman, or the craft. This is where they're getting this stuff from. The workshop of the mind. Everybody see it? Okay, so let's continue. Coldness, right? Because a Capricorn, I think it's December 21, 22nd, something like that. This is winter. This is when the sun is at its least, at its weakest point in the whole cycle, in its whole annual cycle. The sun is at its weakest point. If the sun is at its weakest point, that means that darkness is at its maximum point. That means that it's very cold. Corporations are cold, right? They don't care nothing about you, right, y'all? Darkness, cold. What happens, y'all, when it gets very cold? What happens when it gets very cold? Y'all ever heard of was it when your digits turn black? Frostbite. When it gets very cold, it becomes hot. Very cold can burn you. See the correlation? Y'all see the correlation to hell? Did y'all ever make that connection? June 21, June 22nd, the summer solstice is hot. Leo, the lion, that's Christ in honor, but it's hot. You would think that hell would be there in the summer because it's hot, right? Sun is at its maximum point. The sun is supposed to be fire. But yet it's Leo, the lion. Christ coming back in glory. The sun is at its highest or maximum power. Highest point in the northern sky. Northern part of space, rather. Do y'all see it? But remember the law of polarity. Polarity. Hot and cold are the same thing. It only differs by degree. So at the extremes, you should expect burning. All right, y'all see the point? So hell, even though, of course, there's no fiery place where you go burn, fire is physical, a spirit is supposed to be spiritual. So how can a spirit burn? They're in different dimensions. Y'all see it? But anyway, that's neither here or there. But my point is that coldness can become so cold that it burns. This is why hell is called the bottomless pit. Because it's no end. Right? The southern part of space has no end. There's no bottom. Okay, so it is dense darkness. It is a bottomless pit. It can burn. Or it is burning. Y'all got it? Because it's so cold. Clear? All right. That's the conception. The next zodiacal key word we need to look out for is pretense. So pretense. So let's get into it. Let's see what chapter does Capricorn start on. What page does Capricorn? Okay, Capricorn starts on 178. Page 178. Let me move that out of the way. Give me 1 second. Capricorn starts on page 178, y'all. Hold on. I have a drink here, but it's frozen. And it's taken forever to unfreeze. Okay, so Capricorn. Let's take a look at the glyph. All right, so here's Capricorn, y'all. Take a look at it. Everybody see that? Here's the goat with his horns. And here's its fishtail. So it is a hybrid. Capricorn is a hybrid. Everybody see that? Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? JC was born on December 25th, therefore JC is a Capricorn hybrid. All right, so let's get into it. All right, Capricorn, Mark chapter 11, verse 27 through chapter 12, verse 44. It's a lot of verses. It's a lot of verses. Okay, Capricorn is the sign of the winter solstice. I just discussed that. So that's where the concept of hell comes from, right? The opening of the gates of hell are at, I believe it's September 29, but y'all check it. It's in the Devil's Pulpit. The point of the sun's maximum southerly declination, winter solstice, is December 21, 22, y'all, okay? Right before Capricorn is Sagittarius. Okay, so the weak Sagittarian energy is at its weakest right when it's transitioning, or right at the beginning of Capricorn. Remember that? Okay, so we have the, if I remember, corporal, fixed, and mutable. So Sagittarius would be mutable because it's changing, right? It's weakening. And then Capricorn would be corporal. That's the beginning of the seasons, winter, summer, spring, and fall. Okay, so anyway, keep those concepts in mind. Fixed would be that ain't nothing changing, right? You're right in the middle of it. You're in the thick of that season. It's not beginning and it's not ending. You're in the middle of it. All right, so it's fixed. Okay, when nights are at their longest in the northern hemisphere, and remember, y'all, this zodiac that's being used right now, the perspective is from the northern hemisphere. From the northern hemisphere. And to my knowledge, North America is the only place that has a distinct winter, summer, spring, and fall. Distinct 4 seasons. South America, when I was there, I did not see distinct 4 seasons. I didn't see distinct 4 seasons in Europe, but I was in Central and Eastern Europe. And I haven't seen distinct four seasons in Asia. It's just rainy season, right? It's summer and rainy season. And then in Europe, from what I saw, it was winter, and then it just warmed up a little bit. It's just warmed up. But, you know, maybe other people have seen it. I'm talking about my own experience, right? It warmed up and the snow melted, and I think it was like in the low 70s. But I didn't see a fall and I didn't see a spring. Clearly it's fall and clearly it's spring. I didn't see that when I was there. So in Africa, I haven't heard about Africa having 4 seasons. Does it snow in the mountains? Yes. Well, you would expect that, right? Because the mountains are high. So you would expect any high mountain you would not be surprised if you saw snow-capped mountains, right? Because they're high in the sky. Okay, so the point of reference is always the northern hemisphere. The sun, the Escheat sun, the orb in the sky, symbolic of individual consciousness, The sun, symbolic of individual consciousness. What is this consciousness? Well, consciousness is mind. Consciousness is intelligence, awareness. Consciousness is what? What is awareness? What is the first level of awareness? I am, I exist, I be. If you didn't exist, you wouldn't be conscious of anything. So that's the first level of awareness. I be, I am, I exist. Everybody see that? The sun, symbolic of individual consciousness. Wow, we just talked about this. So everything has its own radio station, so to speak. Okay? So if you have individual consciousness and the sun is symbolic of individual consciousness, does that mean the sun is symbolic of you by extension or extrapolation? In other words, take that logic just a little bit further. The sun, S-U-N, in Latin, S-O-L, remixed to S-O-U-L. So what's the function of the sun? It provides heat energy, right? Heat energy enables life to exist. Otherwise, everything would freeze. So we have our body produces metabolism. So as I've discussed before, that energy is likened to a sun, S-U-N, a power pack, a battery, a S-O-L, inside of us that produces that heat energy, which allows living things to metabolize, which is required for life. Clear? So the dark priesthood, the brothers of Saturnalia, the Saturn Brotherhood, the Catholic Church, came in and threw a U in there and came up with the concept of S-O-U-L, soul, and told you a half-truth that the soul does not die, but it goes to heaven or it goes to hell. Y'all see how they played you? And then they monetized it. And they said, you need to give up your gold and silver. You need to give them money to get you out of hell, which is debtor's prison, hence bondmen, bondwomen. Hence what? Maritime admiralty canon or Christian canon law. You're a bond man or a bond woman held in bondage by the king, or in the king's, what's the word of those underneath the castle where the king had his debtors in prison? Everybody see how this works? All of this is coming just from etymology. Just from etymology. Is it clear? And then they monetized. They came up with the concept of purgatory. And from purgatory, they said you can pay your way out of purgatory. Well, if you don't have any gold and silver remaining, you can join the military. You can go attack and raid the Moors, participate in that, and get you some coins. Or if you're a Moor and you want to betray your people for your own selfish gain, you can be a minion And you can give them your land, whatever land you may have stolen from the Moors. So we're talking about the doctrine of discovery, unum sanctum, manifest destiny. You can give the Catholic Church your land. Let them hold it in trust while you go fight for them. And then guess what? When you come back, they're not giving it back. Or you could give it to them for some other reason. They're not giving you your land back. Well, how do I know? Because they didn't give it back. That's one of the ways they accumulated so much wealth. Stealing inheritances, even of the hybrids who stole it and got it from Moors. Okay? And hence, they came up with concepts such as, well, not concepts, but hold on. What's the name of there's the doctrine of, not doctrine, but it escapes me. It'll come to me when I remember. I'll bring it to your attention. I'll tell you. But this is where they came up with their Magna Carta. Okay, this is allegedly this practice of the Catholic Church stealing inheritances, robbing people of their land, forcing people and whole families into homelessness, etc. Extreme poverty. But there's more to the story, I'm sure. But anyway, let's continue. So the sun, symbolic of individual consciousness, is now at its weakest, and the forces of darkness, symbolizing the collective, predominate. Y'all got that? Y'all got that? Let me say this one more time. The sun is at its weakest, and the forces of darkness predominate. What does that mean? Well, the sun, remember, that's the Christ. So that's knowledge. That's science. That's nature. Knowledge of nature. And the ability to manipulate nature, to create products and services, things, etc. for the benefit of yourself and others. Honor, this stuff is minimized. And darkness is maximized. That's corporations. Cold-hearted, selfish, self-serving corporations, Christianity, the Catholic Church. Cold-hearted, self-serving. Y'all know I'm speaking abstractly because corporations are dead. I'm talking about the people who run them and who created them. Cold-hearted, self-serving, detached from nature. Right? Remember, natural law says do no harm. But these corporations, the Catholic Church, Christianity, they're robbing people. They robbed everyone on the planet. Not just robbed them, but raped, terrorized, and murdered. Don't believe me, check their history. Okay? This is when institutions freeze. Y'all, when things freeze, can't they burn? This is when institutions freeze into systems. Now, this quote was taken from Rudyard, page 29. See, institutions can burn you, right? Like, for example, you have a run-in with these policy enforcers, or let's say family, children and family services or family court, all of the genocidal operations, institutionalized genocidal operations, say you come into contact with them, okay? Their actions can burn. And they make you feel bitter, right? Cold-hearted, don't care nothing about you or your heirs, coming into your space under the pretense of helping you or your heir, helping the community, but they are robbing you. Human trafficking, it burns, just like a freezer burn. Winter solstice, dark, black, bottomless, cold. The bottomless pit. Hell. Hell is so cold that it's hot. All right? In other words, temperatures can become so cold that they are hot enough to burn, like a freezer burn, like frostbite. That's my point. Okay? When the demands of society and its laws take precedence over individual initiative. When the demands of society, which aspect or part of society do y'all think they're talking about? Clearly, the corporations, not the people. They're talking about the corporations and its laws. What laws? He's speaking very broadly, not laws. He's talking about what? Administrative procedures, statutes, public policies, acts, statutes, codes, administrative laws and procedures. Take precedence over a man or a woman. In other words, the way they get down is to take you out of your proper status, disconnect you from nature, hide your nationality, not honor natural law as it is in the Constitution and the other documents, consular jurisdiction, consular courts, diversity of citizenship, even their own stare decisis. They don't honor it in many cases. Why? Because they're concerned only about robbing you. Greedy. Immoral. Cold, dark, and ugly. All right? Everybody see how these words and analogies go together? Okay? So the corporation and industry and its public policies, et cetera, that I just mentioned, take precedence over individual initiative. In other words, they step on you. You're nothing. They don't follow natural law. They don't even follow their own rules. They're just renegades, criminals. And the major organizations of collective endeavor begin their task of regulation and control. What is that in North America? That's democracy. And they spread that all over the globe. Capricorn symbolizes organizational man. The company is the corporation, y'all. The state is the corporation. The team. These are the actors. In most cases in North America, hybrid, troglodyte, nigger, Paleolithic, Neanderthal colonists. You can use any of those descriptive terms that you want. And they're Moorish minions. The team. Okay, that's the, if you want to look at the Wizard of Oz, that little man pulling the lever behind the curtain. Okay, showing holograms. In other words, creating a visual narrative for you to interact with, which is a cause. Which is a cause, y'all get this, which is masculine energy. Right? Everybody see it? And the effect is what you saw in the Wizard of Oz, due to those causes. Everybody see? It's the same thing in North America. The effects are due to the causes. The causes are complementary to the masculine mental energy to assist and to intensify the collaboration of that masculine mental energy of theirs with your feminine energy to produce that Negro, black, colored, Latino, every other byword you can think of, and all of this negative behavior and being in la la land and accepting their paradigm and participating in their paradigm. Everybody see it? So now that you know what they're doing, you should clearly see, if you've been watching my videos, you should clearly see how to use the Hermetic laws to exit from under their control, to gain control over your life again, to return to the Most High and follow His commandments, to live the life of our ancient foremothers and forefathers by following the principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. All of this is codified in Exodus chapter 20, verse 12. Honor your ancient foremothers and forefathers so that it may go well with you in the land that I am giving you. So you're talking about trust, law, and estate. Everybody see? This is law. The Bible is a science book. Law is a science too. Linguistics is a science too. Natural law is science. I hope everybody sees what's happening here. So the team, that little man behind the curtain in The Wizard of Oz, or that hybrid European, or that Moorish minion, or whoever it is, in whatever situation you're dealing with, whatever controversy you have with them, is hiding behind the corporation. That's the curtain. That's why we need to know the difference between a corporation and the private capacity of the actor. Because you get nowhere if you sue the corporation, right? But you can sue and you can hold that actor responsible in their private capacity, if you know who you are. Everybody see that? That's how you pull the skirt up of these people. That's how you expose the Wizard of Oz. Okay, wizard. Any area of life in which the individual is participating, any area of life which the individual, let's make this more specific, which the Moorish man, or which the Moor is a participating member, or worse, a computer-generated number. Isn't that interesting? A computer-generated number like a social security number. Any area of life in which the Moor is a participating member. Okay, so any area, so what are we talking about? Minimum contacts. Minimum contacts in trust law. So how do you deal with having to use fiat? Use silver and gold or bounce. Okay, you're using their corporations, you're using their services. Minimum contacts. Any area of life in which the individual, that's the 14th Amendment, citizen, is a participating member. All right, didn't say anything about nationality, did it? Or worse, a computer-generated number, i.e. social security number. Okay. These are all what? Those are all, well, they're all ways to get to put you in and keep you in bondage. Hold on, y'all. I want to drink my drink, but it's frozen. All right, y'all. Everybody get it? The only way out of that is through a strong masculine energy. What is a strong masculine energy? Well, it's bloodline. If it's bloodline, that means it's what? Families make nations. Nations make empires. And there is a jurisdiction, a law language, all right, that we have to follow. Clear? And it should be the Most High's commandments, which are natural law. All right, so let's continue. Some hint at this polarity between the individual and the community. Y'all notice that word polarity? So you should be thinking what? Hermetic law. Some hint at this polarity between the individual. Polarity means extreme. It means the same thing, but at extreme ends of that same thing. So for example, the more, let's just say the community, the individual and the community. See, same arm, same thing, they're just at different ends of the same line. That's polarity. Some hint of this polarity between the individual or the more, the natural heir, and the community. What's the community? They're referring to the corporations, or the U.S. is if you're in North America. The more, the republic, the more, the self-governing more is in a republican state of mind, or the democracy. Y'all see it? Some hint of this polarity between the individual and the corporation, between the more, the natural heir, and the corporation, the thief, is preserved in the ancient symbol of Capricorn. Isn't that interesting? The goat fish. And Christianity is fish, y'all, right? Christianity is the fish. In fact, let me see if I can show y'all. Let me see if I can find something for y'all. I went over this in one of my classes, the Saturday live class. Let's see if I can find it. About the fish. So I'm not going to go into the whole thing, but it's quite interesting when you start to see what's written on the page, but that you can't see. The goat fish. Hold on, y'all. Where is it? Here it is. I think it's the Ichthus. I think that's how you pronounce it. Ichthus or something. Maybe it's in Pisces. Hold on. Let me check Pisces. It might be in Pisces. Excuse me. So the goat fish, that means part goat, part fish, right? Okay, here we are. So give me 1 second, y'all. Let me see if I can find it. It's the Ichthus. So you should be thinking unum sanctum, right? You should be thinking the Catholic Church and unum sanctum and all of the corporate and the unum sanctum and what's the name of the trust? Y'all know the trust I'm talking about, the birth certificate. What's the name of that trust? What is the name of that trust? Well, that trust, y'all should be thinking about that. That's what should come to mind. I just talked about this. Now I don't see it. Oh, well, if it comes to mind, I'll share it with y'all. But I wanted to read it to you so you could see. I mean, it's only a couple lines. But you could see the connection with a fish. So, here it is. On page 42. So y'all study this. Y'all go back and read this. Page 42 and I think 43. I talked about this in a class or two ago. There's much more here that meets the eye when you start connecting this to the slave trade, etc. So this is Ichthus, ICHTHUS. Okay, so the I is for JC, the Christ figure. That's Jesus. Christos is Christ. Theo is of God. HUIOS, huios, is Son. And then soter is Savior. So the Oxford Dictionary of the Christian Church tells us that this acrostic, that's ichthos, probably originated in Gnostic circles. So this would be the Moors, the Sabian Moors, because let me repeat that, because it is found in the Cymbeline oracles. So we need to get the Cymbeline oracles, right? And that in the 4th and 5th centuries, the fish, in the 4th and 5th centuries, y'all, not in the 1st century, not when JC was 32 years old or even 33 years old, but in the 4th and 5th centuries, that means 4 and 5, that's 400 and 500 years after. But in the 4th and 5th centuries, the fish became the emblem of the Eucharist and is frequently found in the paintings of the catacombs in combination with, quote, listen to this, right, in combination with bread and wine. Bread and wine served at the Last Supper. This is found on page 415. All right, everybody see? All right. So when you put that together, and y'all should Google this. When you put it together, but why did they use the fish? Because they wanted to associate the fish with Joshua. Joshua led his people into the promised land according to the story, right? So the New Testament was written as the age of Pisces. Let me repeat that. The New Testament was written as the age of Pisces was beginning. Now, I don't buy that at all, because none of this history is real. But let's go on with it. All right, let's just go on with it. And the Gospels are full of fish references as symbols, 28 in all. This is according to Strachan, page 92. The name Jesus is the Greek version of the Hebrew Joshua. All right, so now they're trying to get authority. They're trying to take Joshua's authority, or not trying to, but they did. They took Joshua's authority and gave it to Christ. And how did they do it? Linguistically. Linguistically. And the biblical Joshua was, this is the point, was the son of Nun. Son of Nun. Nun is a modern Hebrew or biblical Hebrew. This is at Joshua 1, verse 1. The pronunciation is, quote unquote, Nun means fish in Hebrew. So now you know something. Now you know something. This is probably why they chose to represent JC as a fish. Because just as Joshua led his people into the promised land, which was real physical land, according to the story, JC is going to lead his people into God's kingdom, which is not tangible. You need to die and go to heaven to get there. Or there's one religion, or no, the Hebrew Israelites and another religion believe that the kingdom is coming on earth. Everybody see this? Y'all see this? So we need to totally rethink the chronology and the zodiac signs in terms of chronology. Because for sure, according to Moses, the promised land was a burning waste, just like Sodom and Gomorrah. So this story could not have existed. It's not real, according to Moses. So that's a whole 2,000 and something years. That's a whole 2,000. This is 2023, a zodiacal age. What's 29? What's 25? A great year is 25,920. Somebody divide that by 12. You get 2,160 years per zodiacal age. So if JC was born on 0 in the year 0 or 6 BCE or 2 or 3 AD after domination, whatever, this is still what, 2023. So you still got 130 something more years to go before you enter into Aquarius. If you believe that we are in the Aquarian age, if you believe that these gospel stories are true. Y'all see what I'm saying? Or were we in Pisces already and they just linked the story up so that it would be Pisces? They made sure that Joshua's father was the son of Nun so that it could match up with Pisces with the zodiacal age. And then they connected JC to Joshua by connecting JC to Pisces. So either of those are possibilities. I'm sure there are more. But the important thing is that you understand and that you are aware of the connectivity, these associations. That's what's important, okay? Regardless of what you think or what you believe or what you know, you need to know, be aware, all right? Otherwise, you're at their mercy, even more so, because you don't know nothing. And then awareness is often curative, right, y'all? When you become aware of something, then you begin to process it, and eventually, many people will be able to overcome whatever is holding them back just through awareness. Sometimes that happens immediately. Other times, people go through cognitive dissonance and it happens over a course of months or even years. All right. So let's continue. Where am I? Oh, I was looking outside. This don't look familiar. It's in the wrong chapter. Capricorn, Pisces, Aquarius. Okay, should be here. Capricorn, all right. Okay, so back to Capricorn. I hope that that everybody are excited about learning this information, reviewing this information as I am, because I really enjoy it. I really, really enjoy it. So, polarity, that means that you can use the Hermetic laws quite easily to achieve anything you want. Because what? Because the law of polarity is active here, right? Some hint of this polarity between the individual and the community, between the more and the corporate or the corporation. Or you can look at it differently, between the more and other mores, between the more and hybrids, between the more and mores and hybrids, because hybrids are what? They come from the egg of a Moabite woman, which is a more. Y'all see it? Okay. Although amalgamated. All right. So some hint at this polarity between the individual and the community is preserved in the ancient symbol of Capricorn. the goatfish. Now, y'all remember, the story goes like this. The sons of the deity, or the angels, as it were, came down and had sexual relations with the daughter of men, the daughters of the Moabites, etc., Canaanites, all of them. Okay, natural autochthonous women. They produced the Titans, the Nephilim, the Raphaim, the giants. They expired in their physical body, and they went to what? The land of the dead in the waters. Right? Everybody remember that? Mermaids, Oannes, Dogon, half fish, half man. Some hint of this polarity between the individual and the community. The community is made up of what? Hybrids, and men and women. Between the Moor and the collective community of Moors and hybrids, or you can just say hybrids, however you want to do it, just have hybrids in there, is preserved in the ancient symbol of Capricorn, the goatfish. Y'all see that? The hybrid on the earth, the giant, becomes a fish, or half fish, which is half one creature, half another, half angelic, half man. Now half fish, half man. Just as the human, the human person, lives partly as an individual, partly as a hybrid, partly as a member of a group, the larger community of autochthonous men and women and other hybrids. If y'all can see my thought process. You don't have to agree. I'm just reading into it, or reading what's underneath it. The signs, or Capricorn's glyph, which looks like a V and an S to me, y'all, or at least here. This glyph looks different from on the page. Y'all see the glyph where my finger is? Hold on. Y'all see the glyph? Well, I'm not going to point to it. Take a look. Take a look at the glyph. It looks different from this glyph, right? But either way, I'm trying to see what I can make of this. Well, I'll let that stew, I'll let it marinate. We let that thought marinate. All right. So we're dealing with halves, right? Halves, hybrids. The consistent theme is hybrid on land when they came here, and then when they left to go in the waters. Land, not land, but half one thing and half another. Okay, water, fish. The sign's glyph supposedly resembles the horns of a goat with the curling fishtail. So I saw the fishtail, but I didn't really see the horns of the goat. Unless it's from the side view and you only see one. So maybe that's what this is. Y'all see it? I see the head of the goat, but I only see one horn. I would expect to see two, but maybe you can only see one because it's the side view. And this curly part here, the squiggly line, is the fish part. So I saw that, but what threw me off is that there was no second horn. Everybody see that? All right. So let me go back to page 22 and take a look at what we saw so far. So far, nothing. We just went through Capricorn. We just went through a definition of Capricorn. I haven't seen a teaching on authority yet. Haven't seen any of the zodiacal keywords: responsibility, management, authority, the father, coldness, and pretense. Okay, I haven't seen those. So let's continue. Notice this, y'all. Rudyard, Dane Rudyard, page 29, tells us that this is a phase of life, Capricorn, is the phase of life in which the state assumes control over the individual. The phase of life in which the state seizes control over the individual. In other words, a corporation steals the nationality, or because of blood guilt, you get the curses. And then the corporation is used as a tool to escheat a turn, to escheat and a turn, and to hypothecate and hit you with attainders. As what? Hermetically speaking, the law of cause and effect. When you act against natural law, there is a consequence. Every effect has a cause. Every cause has a because. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15 through 68. Y'all see that? Okay, so Dane Rudyard, page 29, tells us that the phase of life, this would be what? The curses. The phase of life, the curses, the phase of life in which the state, a state is a corporation, assumes control over the individual. When the state takes your birthright and puts you into bondage, which is what, y'all? The covenant of labor, the covenant of work. Deuteronomy 28, 15 through 68. You've been taken out of the covenant of grace, remember? The two pillars, or the number 11. Right? How did you do it? Corruption of the blood. Corruption of what blood? The corruption of the blood of the covenant. Corruption of your reputation through dishonorable acts. Dirtying your reputation by being in dishonor, and then having that affect your immediate family, your kin. Now their blood is corrupted, right? In other words, you've destroyed your family's reputation. That's why when you go in certain places in the world, like here in Southeast Asia, Family is so important, and what you do will affect your family's reputation. And they take that seriously here, y'all. They take it very seriously, extremely seriously. Corruption of the blood, the family relation. And you extend that, the entire nation is dirty. Means what? Means what? Bad reputation and dishonor. What principle could be at work here? The 99th monkey or the 100th monkey principle, that when a small percentage of a population begin to engage in a certain behavior, it will reach a climactic point, and then that behavior, be it honorable or dishonorable, will spread overnight to the entire population. So that small percentage of people acting dishonorably, meaning they corrupted the blood, destroyed their reputation and their immediate family. And that just multiplied until it hit that climactic number or percentage, when that dishonorable behavior spread across our whole nation. And now the whole nation, and what was it? What was it? It was worshiping foreign gods, worshiping external deities. That's what it was. Clear as day, you can read it. It's no coincidence that the first commandment is don't worship foreign gods. Don't go begging somebody to do something for you that you have the ability to do for yourself. Empress Roro Amani writes, Shalawama. Shalawama in Islam to all of the Moors. Good to see you here, Roro. What do you think about this discussion that I'm presenting so far? If you don't mind me sharing your thoughts if you don't mind me asking you for your thoughts. So does everyone see how this stuff is connected? Everybody see that? And I'm not making this stuff up. I am speaking just based upon knowledge of etymology and the Zodiac. That's really all I'm doing right now. Or the Hermetic laws too. That's what I'm doing. That's why y'all need to go out and subscribe to the 101 Ancient Ibaryath course. Everybody should do it. It's not like I'm asking y'all for, $500 or $3,500 or even $10,000. That's my estimate of the market value of the course. Some people will say, oh, it's only 113 videos. Well, so what? You can go to a desert and you have miles and miles and miles and miles of nothing but sand. Quantity means nothing. It's the content. Empress Roro Armani writes, I just logged on. I didn't hear what you previously said. Okay. All right. Well, thanks anyway. Everybody see it? Okay, so let's continue. So Capricorn is a phase of life in which the state assumes control over the individual. This correlates to the curses, right? This correlates to the curses when you look at this in terms of the astrology, the astrotheology of it, and nature. All right, and nature or law, and in which the individual ruler can become totally subservient to his office. And an individual ruler. Now, I always hear, I don't have personal knowledge of this, but I always hear, hold on. Always hear about the Moorish Science Temple of America and dirty Moors and dirty Grand Sheiks and all of that. But this would have something, this can relate to that, right? We're individual rulers, but a ruler could be also in a corporation. And you hear expressions such as, political life is different from personal life. Or what I do as a corporate man, they'll say, is different from what I do in my personal life. In other words, you become a corporate man or woman. Y'all see it? So whatever the organization wants, that's what you're going to do. And the religion that I was in, that was their mentality. Organization was first, everybody else was second, and they would run over you. They would step on you, destroy your reputation publicly. And the excuse is to protect the deity's organization. Right? And they would do it proudly, with enthusiasm. All right, so the Capricorn stage, this is the stage of accumulation. I talked about how they accumulated it. Robbery, murder, remixing natural law into religion. For example, tax, a tithe. Okay, so traditionally our ancient ancestors, they would save a portion of their seeds. They would save a portion of their seeds that they collect during the harvest. I don't know exactly what, maybe 10%, that seems reasonable. They would save a portion of those seeds so that they could plant them during the next harvest. Well, the Catholic Church came in and said, oh, what a concept. What a concept. Y'all saving 10% of your seeds for the next year. So you have something to eat, something, a harvest to collect. How about, since y'all already in that frame of mind, I just remix it into a religious doctrine. You need to cough up 10% of your income, of your yearly wages, and give it to the church as a requirement for your salvation. The salvation would be equivalent for your harvest that will sustain you through the winter until spring, until the next harvest. Y'all got that? Other people will say, well, the harvest, the harvest in the Bible, tithing in the Bible was vegetables. And you would convert that to money if and when circumstances required you to do so, you do it. Okay? And then another big remix that they use to collect money is the idea of the soul, the S-O-U-L, as I discussed earlier. They remixed soul, S-O-L, which is Latin, which is sun, S-U-N, which is the disk in the sky, which in Dutch and I think German is also S-O-N, the masculine air of an orthodox man and woman. Every living man or woman and hybrid has a equivalent to what we would call a battery pack that facilitates metabolism, which produces heat. Hence it being referred to as a sun. And that metabolism is what facilitates nourishment, growth and development, life itself. Hence, it's likened to the sun, S-U-N, in the sky. All they did was threw a U in there. Now it's changed from S-O-L to S-O-U-L. Remixed into a doctrine, natural phenomena, again, remixed into a doctrine. And then they came up with the concept of hell, where you go and burn and fire, which is a remix of the winter solstice, where darkness, the length of the hours of darkness during the day on December 21, 22 is maximum. The sun is at its lowest point in the southerly part of space. It's so cold that it burns. Remix of hell. Monetized it. Remix of heaven, the celestial heavens. Monetize that. Everybody see this? Scare you to death? About going to burn in hell and fire, but actually it's cold and dark in nature. Get you all excited and pumped up about going to heaven, which is actually space. And through your fear and excitement, they get a tithe, a tax out of you every month. Can y'all imagine 1 million people paying you 10% of their income every month? How about 20 million, 30 million? How about people giving you their land to hold in trust, but then you come up with a way to not give it back? Or they give you their land to get their father out of hell, or to get their mother out of purgatory. So they give you all their land. And you're so cold, so dark, so selfish and greedy that you take it and won't give it back. And then they and their heirs are now homeless on the street. Remember I talked about the Magna Carta and all. So this is how they did that. And of course, what they did against the Moors, the Inquisition, doctrine of discovery, all of these things, okay? Manifest destiny, etc. The silent weapons and silent wars against the Moors, the Spanish-American War, which was really about killing off the Moors in Asia. Was the Spanish, was it the Philippines? Y'all know what I'm talking about. The Manila galleons that brought Yasharala men and women from Southeast Asia, from all over Southeast Asia, to Cancun, Mexico, and then into slavery. All of these things is how they stole land. And also did what? Stole the nationalities of the people, robbed them of their nationalities. And then by possession took ownership, right? So let's continue. This is the stage of accumulation. So remember, when we're up, they're down. When we're up, we're in the blessings. That means we are in material wealth. We're in our proper status. We're in honor. Deuteronomy 28, 1 through 14. We're up, they're down. But this is the age of accumulation for the corporations. So now we're down in the curses, Deuteronomy 28, 15 through 68, and they're up, living off of our birthright. That's why it says Capricorn is the age of accumulation. not as a protection against possible reversal of fortune, as in Cancer, summer solstice. Not as a protection against possible reversal of fortune, as in Cancer, but as a mark of achievement, right? It's a badge of honor when you rob the Moors. That's why they call us what? The little Moors, the blackamoors. That's why you'll hear some of the hybrids say, we need to do everything for them. They're like pets. The Moors are like pets. Pets who can talk. Isn't that interesting? They flipped the script. Right? According to Genesis chapter 1, they're the created creature, the hybrid. But they refer to us as pets. That's why they put the little monkey in the Moorish vest with the fez. All right? So their accumulation is a mark of achievement. It's a come up. Okay, so when they do you dirty, when you feel that intense sting, that burn from something that they do to you, for them, that's a mark of achievement. They're happy to see you suffer. Many of them know this information. And they enjoy seeing you suffer because that's a mark of achievement for them. Capricorn is the sign of the status symbol. The private parking space, right? Living off of your birthright. Because remember, y'all, the hybrid's paradigm, no different than the colony of chimpanzees, is about status. Who's the strongest? Who can fight? You know, that kind of thing. Who can fight the best? That's mine. But the Moorish paradigm was everybody get free electricity. Everybody get free everything. Don't trespass on another man's property, including his heirs, his woman, and his land, or any of his other property. Remember, we're talking trust, not colonialism when I say property. These properties are given, quote unquote, by the Most High. The man is entrusted with the property to protect it, to grow it and develop it. Not the colonial way of thinking about property. It's not what's being spoken of here. Empress Robo writes, yes, there are records of those voyages. Indeed. Indeed. So Capricorn is the sign of status symbol. See, we as Moors, we are co-rulers. We're all sovereigns. We're all self-governing. In the natural state of mind, when we follow the Most High's commandments, when we follow natural law, nobody's trying to take from you, and you're not trying to take from anybody else. You have your own inheritance. You make it do what you do based upon your willingness to learn, practice, to learn and practice, that's to use to do the natural laws. Nobody can tell you to stay in honor or to be dishonorable. Right? Nobody can tell you to, how you spend your time. Manifesting in the workshop of your mind, being a craftsman. Those are individual choices. But that's in nature. But the corporation, the hybrid, wants more and more and more and more, including your stuff. And they're willing to terminate you for it. Right? This is a consequence of being in the curses. Okay, which is in itself natural law, right? All right. So let's continue. Capricorn is the sign of rigid social divisions, of knowing one's place. Rigid social divisions, that's status, right? Knowing one's place, that's status. That's the man in relationship to his property and society. Everybody see that? So we would see status in Capricorn being a major issue. Denationalization. Being called by words, as it were, in Deuteronomy chapter 28. I think it's somewhere around verse 37 through 46, somewhere around there. But you'll see it, the bywords, right? Loss of nationality. Loss of nationality results in loss of inheritance. All right? In other words, loss of the blessings, loss of all your material wealth, loss of your peace of mind, loss of your titles. You lose it all. Okay? Why? Corruption of the blood. Corruption of what blood? Corruption of the blood of the covenant. Moses sprinkled the blood on the people when the people all agreed to follow the Most High's instructions. What are those instructions? Natural law. Is that common sense? You are the manifestation of nature, so you need to live according to the laws of nature. If you don't, there are going to be consequences. That's just logical. There's no religion here, y'all. No religion here. No magic. No nothing. Science. All right. It is the sign of rigid social divisions, of knowing one's place. Walk into one of their venues talking about you're black or African American. See how they handle you. See how they handle you. There's no legal or technical definition of black that they need to know in law. You're not recognized. You're a cattle. Your only use is your labor, for them to extract the energy of your labor, period, to make their currency flow. That's your only use. Why? Because your feminine energy is much greater than your masculine energy. So if you're a man out there, a woman might not mind that so much. I don't know. I'm not a woman. But if you're a man, you are not acting according to nature, you don't even much know who you is, your masculine energy is very weak if you don't even know your nationality. You can know it, but if you're not speaking the jurisdiction, the law language of your nationality, you still have weak masculine energy. And that means that you're a man, no matter how big and bad you might look on the outside, you are feminine. Your mental masculine energy is in the main feminine. You're off balance. You're off balance. To balance that out, you need to learn your nationality and learn your jurisdiction. And in learning your jurisdiction, you need to start doing what? Being yourself. That's what that means. You need to be yourself, your honorable self, a Christ, not a devil. Because if you're a devil, you're going to polarize rhythmically in dishonor. Okay? You'll polarize rhythmically in dishonor. And nothing will change for you in the long run. You might get short-term changes, but long-term, the law of rhythm will overtake you. That's why in Deuteronomy 28, the blessings and the curses tell us that if we are following the Most High's commandments, the blessings will overtake us. If we're acting dishonorably, acting out of harmony with nature, it tells us also that if we don't follow the Most High's commandments, this is in verse 15, then all these curses will pursue you and overtake you. How? How, Sway? How? The Hermetic law of rhythm. That's how. Remember, the energy that moves your mood, your emotion, your behavior, because it's not just mental, it's physical. The same amount or quantity of energy that moves the pendulum to the left is there to move it to the right. And you have no control over the law of rhythm itself. Why? Because it's immutable. But you can avoid its effect. Through a technique called what? Transmutation. You can transmute and polarize rhythmically in honor. Everybody remember we had this discussion a couple videos ago, or many videos recently? Everybody remember that? Because the law of rhythm is operating subconsciously. That's feminine, right? Feminine is your physical body. The mental energy is the physical body, which creates. So in other words, you'll produce behavior that creates curses. But let's say you're not. Let's say you're not. But you haven't transmuted to honor. Well, guess what? You're still subject to the cosmic law of rhythm, which takes place subconsciously. That's why the blessings will pursue you and catch you and overtake you, no matter what you do. And that's why the curses will pursue you, overtake you, pursue you, catch you, and overtake you. Because the law of rhythm is operative subconsciously. You cannot escape it. You can only do what? You can only rise above it. And the way to rise above it is to be the Christ. Transmute into honor. and stay there, polarized rhythmically there. In that way, you can neutralize the effect of rhythm, the law of rhythm, which is taking place at the subconscious level, but you are above that. That requires strong masculine energy, which is the I be, I am that never changes. In other words, you need to what? You need to know who you are and be that. That's why Noble Darrell-El said, be yourself. See, if you are being yourself, that's that strong masculine energy, the I am, I be, I exist. That's bloodline, family, jurisdiction. And as long as you know who you are, you can avoid the law of rhythm that's swinging in the way that you do not want to go, because you've risen above it. You're the Christ. I am, I be, I exist. You can liken that to the conscious mind. So when you're talking about conscious mind, you're talking about willpower, right? You have the willpower to sit there and study. You have the willpower to use your brain in the way that it was intended to be, to use your God, quote unquote, God, or your creative faculty. To be willing to learn how to use your mind, to enter into that workshop of your mind. Look at that screen. And I don't know if y'all heard anything I was talking about. I'm just going to keep on going. To look at that mental movie screen or that flat screen TV in your brain, or the cinema screen in your brain when you project it not in front of your eyelids, but about 6 feet. Isn't that interesting? About 6 feet or 6 meters behind your eyelids. That means outside of your eyelids. And then you paint that picture of what you want to do, be, or have, or the answer to the question, the solution to the question. You start working on that mental, that takes willpower. Why? Because you need to practice it to develop the skills, because you haven't been using it. That takes willpower to do that. Once, 2, 3 times a day, every day, until you start getting results. Not for 2 days or 3 days or even a week, until you start getting results. Why? Because you need to develop your skill of visualization and self-discipline, willpower. All right? We can also talk about the self-image. People usually get started on something and then they crash, they stop. Or they make a conscious effort to change their self-image, but they stop. Why? Because they run up into a wall. The self-image doesn't want to change. You get resistance, and most people, they can't crash through it. They can crash through it, but they don't. They stop. In other words, they give up. Why? Weak self-will. So all of this is masculine energy. So you men, if you're not doing these things, you have a weak masculine energy, and therefore you're more feminine. You're more feminine than you are masculine. So hopefully that motivates you to change, to improve, to be yourself. And yourself is that unchanging I am, I exist, I be. This is for women too, which is separate and distinct from the feminine energy, which is the becoming. We are always becoming. We're always becoming. We can become more, or we can become what? We can become honorable, or we can become dishonorable. We can become whatever we want to become, always changing. Okay, so the two are different. All right, so let's move on. I think I made that point clear. I hope everyone, sometimes I wonder if what I'm saying is being understood. Well, I'm gonna keep going. So heavily Capricornian countries, if you look at this just in terms of, if you look at it in terms of the present worldview, they have here that India and England, okay, they have very strict hierarchies, right? Customs and traditions there. But this is not the sense that we are talking about this in. That's what the author is talking about it in. Like Cancer, it's polar opposite. So Cancer is the polar opposite of Capricorn. Capricorn recognizes its debt to the past. Y'all hear that? It's debt to the past. The past would be what? The ancient ancestors, their way of life, their customs. Customs would include science, as would the way of life, right? Because they all lived according to nature. And finds solace. Solace is light, right? Soul, S-O-L. And finds solace in tradition. Y'all see that? Tradition would be what? The instructions from our ancient foremothers and forefathers. And finds solace. Solace is light. Light is what? That which is helpful. It is intelligence, wisdom. And finds intelligence and wisdom in tradition, order, and continuity. Continuity means it didn't change, it stayed the same through the generations. In other words, they followed the instructions and lifestyles, the principles of their ancient foremothers and forefathers, Capricorn and Cancer. All right? As the author says, recognizes their debt to those things. So we're still talking nature, whether you're honorable or dishonorable. Now you must remember that Capricorn, they have a different jurisdiction. They're hybrids, right? So they have a different jurisdiction that they need to follow. Excuse me. All right. Two different manner of people. Excuse me. It is a sign of the Father, our first authority symbol. So this is your physical father. This is Capricorn, who connects us with the past. That's the bloodline, y'all. Who embodies all the accumulated wisdom of the race. Well, that might be true of peoples other than us in the Americas who were put into bondage, right? Our nationalities, our history, all of this stuff was taken from us. But under normal conditions, yes, all of this information would be passed from one generation to another, continuity of law, traditions, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. The Most High's commandments, natural law. All right. So the Father embodies all the accumulated wisdom of the race. There's no such thing as race. That's a political construct. You are either autochthonous, a rightful heir, or you are a hybrid. And you don't have the capacity, you cannot inherit. Which is why we gave them human rights. And who teaches us the great Capricornian virtues of social responsibility and self-control. So we're going to stop there. We're 2 hours into it. Islam to all the Moors and Shalawama. Support my project, y'all. If you like what you're learning, if you've been coming here and learning, go ahead and support my project to write the book of the law in Ancient Ibaryath and modern English, and to put all of the nature and natural law stuff and more back in the book of the law, so you'll have it in your library and you can reference it. We need to have our own books, y'all. It's a shame and a humiliation that we are still using the hybrids books and having the nerve to call them out, but you're using their books. Right? That's like going to somebody's house, eating their food, and then talking trash about it. All right. So I have many books that I've written in the description area of the video. Y'all can order them. I would appreciate your support. So thanks everyone who has already made a donation to the book project to write the book of the law. And for everyone who's either subscribed to the 101 Ancient Ibaryath course or bought my books. So thanks. And for those of you who buy it, let's say after we end this video or before tomorrow, I want to say thank y'all in advance. I appreciate the support. Shalom and Islam.